My name is Mark. I live in Alaska, and for years I thought I had the perfect life, a great job, a beautiful fiancée, and a future that looked like it was pulled straight from a magazine. But everything I thought I knew about happiness was built on a lie. A single, terrible lie. It was a lie about a little gray cat named Luna. This is the story of how my perfect fiancée secretly sent my best friend to a shelter. She thought I would never find out. She didn't know that my love for my cat was stronger than my love for her. If you're watching this, drop a comment below and let me know where you're from. And if you ever had a pet who was more than just an animal, hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. My best friend, Luna. I was 32 years old when my life fell apart. My relationship ended, and I felt completely lost. I moved into a small apartment with just my work and my grief. It was a dark time. I would come home to an empty apartment, and the silence was deafening. One night, I was driving home, and I saw a small, soaking wet kitten hiding under a parked car in the rain. She was gray and scared and a little bit ugly, but there was a quiet strength in her eyes. I opened my car door, and she just walked right in. I named her Luna. She was small, but she was a force of nature. She would follow me from room to room. When I cried, she would rub her head against my cheek. She wasn't just a pet. She was my life raft. She was the reason I started to feel like myself again. Luna was my family. She was my heart. A year later, I met Jessica. Jessica was beautiful and smart, and she was obsessed with perfection. Her apartment was always spotless. Her clothes were always ironed, and her Instagram feed was a perfect portrait of a happy life. She loved the idea of me, a quiet, serious man who had a stable career and a kind heart. She loved the idea of a family, but only if it fit her perfect picture. The first time she came to my apartment, she was a little surprised by Luna. "Oh, she's a rescue?" she asked, with a slight look of disapproval. She didn't like the cat hair on the couch or the way Luna sometimes knocked things over. She would always say, "I just want a clean house, Mark." She never said it was about the cat, but I knew. Over the next year, the pressure grew. We were engaged, and she was planning our perfect life. She would drop hints. "Maybe we should get a dog after we're married," she'd say. "Something that doesn't shed so much." She never looked at me when she said it. She just pet Luna's head a little too hard. A few months ago, Jessica started talking more seriously. "Mark," she said, "we can't have Luna in our new home. It's not fair to the cat. She needs a place with a big yard." I told her that Luna was an indoor cat and that she loved our apartment. But Jessica wouldn't listen. She was determined to create a perfect life, and in her mind, a rescue cat had no place in it. I had a 2-day business trip to attend, and I was going to ask my friend to watch Luna. But Jessica stopped me. "Don't bother," she said with a sweet smile. "I'll take care of Luna. She'll be fine with me." I was so grateful. I truly thought she had finally accepted Luna. I left for my trip with a peaceful heart. I trusted her completely. I sent her a text a few times, asking about Luna. She would text back, "She's being good. Don't worry." I thought it was a sign that our relationship was getting stronger. I had no idea it was the beginning of the end. When I got home, the house was silent, too quiet. I called out Luna's name, but she didn't come running. I looked under the couch, in the bedroom. Everywhere, nothing. My heart started to race. My phone rang. It was Jessica. "Mark, honey," she said, her voice full of fake sadness. "I have some terrible news. Luna got out. I'm so sorry. I must have left the door open." I felt my world crash down. I told her I would call her back, and I hung up. I knew in my heart that she was lying, and in that moment, I realized that I had to find my cat. But I also knew I had to get my revenge. My fiancée had taken my cat from me. She thought she was building a perfect life, but she didn't know she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. What did I do? How did I find out the truth? And what did I write in my wedding vows? The moment Jessica told me Luna got out, my heart shattered. But as I stood in my silent apartment, my sadness started to turn into something else. It was a cold, quiet anger that settled deep in my bones. I knew she was lying, and I knew that I wasn't just going to look for Luna. I was going to get revenge, the search for the truth. I spent the next 2 days in a blur of frantic searching. I printed hundreds of flyers with Luna's face and my phone number and put them up all over the neighborhood. I called every animal shelter and every rescue center in a 50-mile radius, but they all said the same thing. No gray cat had been turned in. Jessica kept calling, trying to comfort me, but her voice was full of a fake, hollow sadness. She kept saying, "I'm so sorry, Mark. I don't know how the door got open." She was trying to convince me of a lie that I knew wasn't true. After a few days, my anger turned into a plan. I wasn't going to just scream at her and end the engagement. That was what she would expect. That would be too easy. I wanted my revenge to be something she would never forget, something that would ruin her perfect life, as she had ruined my perfect family. I needed proof. So, while she was at work, I went to our shared computer. I checked her email, her search history, and her bank account. I knew that in her perfect, organized world, she would have left a digital trail. And I was right. In her email, I found a confirmation receipt from a pet transport service. It was for a one-way trip to a specific, faraway animal shelter. And in the notes section it read, "A gift for my fiancé. He'll love the surprise." The date was the same day I had left for my trip. She hadn't just accidentally left the door open. She had paid to have my cat taken away. I felt a fire in my chest. Her betrayal was so cold, so calculated. She didn't just want a cat-free house. She wanted to destroy a part of me to get what she wanted. I closed the computer and took a deep breath. I wouldn't tell her that I knew. I would pretend that I was still heartbroken, but that I had accepted the loss. The wedding was in 2 weeks. It was the perfect stage for my revenge. The master plan. I called Jessica and told her I had found the transport services website. I told her I found a cat that looked like Luna and that I was going to try to adopt her. It was a lie, but it made her feel good. I heard the relief in her voice. She thought I was finally moving on. From that day on, I started acting like my old self. I went along with her wedding plans. I smiled at the tailor. I made small talk with our wedding planner, and I let her tell me for the 100th time about her perfect wedding flowers. She was so happy she didn't even notice that a part of me was dead inside. I knew that she had never truly loved me. She had only loved the idea of a perfect husband who would give her a perfect life. I started writing my vows. She would come into the room and ask me what I was writing, and I would just smile. "I'm just pouring my heart out, honey," I would say. She had no idea that every word I wrote was a knife, a carefully planned attack on her perfect world. I would use my vows not to praise her, but to reveal her lies and expose her for who she truly was. The words were beautiful, poetic even, but they were all about the one thing she hated, Luna. I wrote about love, loyalty, and the kind of family you build with a kind heart. My vows would be a testament to a love that she had no idea existed. The night before the wedding rehearsal, I finished my vows. I read them out loud to my empty apartment. They were perfect. They would make her cry, but not with joy. They would make her cry with humiliation, with anger, with shame. This wasn't just about a cat anymore. It was about the truth. I knew that my revenge would be spectacular, and I knew that she would never see it coming. Outro music, tense and building suspense. The wedding was tomorrow. My vows were ready. What would I say? How would I reveal her secret? And what would happen to our perfect wedding when I finally spoke the truth? The day of the wedding rehearsal was bright and beautiful. My fiancée, Jessica, had planned everything to be perfect. The flowers were in place, the candles were lit, and all of our family and friends were there, smiling and laughing. But all I could feel was a cold, quiet rage. I watched her, so full of herself, so happy. She had no idea that her perfect day was about to become the day her life fell apart. My revenge was ready, and I knew she would never see it coming. The wedding rehearsal began. We stood at the altar, looking into each other's eyes. My parents smiled proudly, and Jessica's sister gave her a thumbs up. The priest asked us to read our vows, and Jessica went first. She read beautiful words about love, trust, and our perfect future together. She looked so happy, so confident. She had no idea that I was about to use her own perfect moment to expose her. It was my turn. I took a deep breath and looked straight into her eyes. The room was silent. I began to speak. My dearest Jessica, I have written these vows to promise you my endless love and devotion. But as I stand here today, I want to talk about true love. The kind of love that is born out of darkness. The kind of love that saves you when you are lost. I saw her smile. She thought I was talking about her. I wasn't. I want to thank you for teaching me what love really is. Love isn't about perfection. It isn't about having a spotless house or a flawless life. True love is messy. True love is loyalty. And true love is staying by someone's side, even when they're at their lowest point. Jessica's smile was still there, but it looked a little confused. I continued, my voice steady and strong. I want to thank you for teaching me that. And I want to thank the one who truly taught me that lesson. The one who came into my life when I was broken and gave me hope. My best friend. My family. My beautiful cat, Luna. A quiet gasp ran through the crowd. I saw my parents' faces go pale. Jessica's eyes were wide with fear. She knew what was coming next. The truth. Jessica, I said, my voice now filled with cold, hard truth. You promised to love and cherish me. But you showed me what you truly cherish when you secretly had my cat taken away. You lied and said she ran away. You paid someone to send my family to a shelter so you could have a perfect, cat-free life. Tears streamed down her face, but it wasn't sadness. It was pure humiliation. You called our love perfect, I said. But a perfect love would never hurt an innocent animal. A perfect love would never betray a person who loves them more than anything. You wanted a perfect life. But you're a liar. You're a cold, cruel, and selfish person who only cares about yourself. The room was in complete shock. My parents, my friends, everyone. No one said a word. So I said, I have one final promise to make. I reached into my pocket and took out a small piece of paper. This isn't a promise of a future with you. It's a promise to myself. I promise to always be loyal to those who love me. And I promise to spend the rest of my life making up for the time I lost with the one who taught me what true love really is. I looked at Jessica one last time, turned and walked out of the church. I left her standing at the altar in front of a silent crowd. I left her with her shame and her broken, perfect life. I drove straight to the shelter. I found Luna sitting alone in a small cage, looking sad and scared. But the moment she saw me, her eyes lit up. I opened her cage, and she jumped into my arms. I held her close, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly at home. I never went back to my old life. I never spoke to Jessica again. My parents called me, but I didn't answer. I learned that my true family wasn't about blood. It was about the loyalty I found in a small, gray cat. My love for her was the greatest gift I had ever received, and my revenge was a beautiful, peaceful life I built without them. So that's my story. It's a reminder that true love is not about perfection. It's about loyalty. And sometimes the best revenge is simply to walk away and build a life that you truly love. Have you ever had to choose between your blood family and your chosen family? What did you learn? Share your stories in the comments below. And if the story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to hear more real-life lessons. Thank you for listening.